Let's talk about how illegal immigration impacts the entire country and why it hits African Americans harder than people want to admit. Because this isn't just people coming here for a better life. This is a system, a shadow system, that changes the rules for everybody already living here. And I'm going to say the quiet part out loud. When you flood the lowest end of the job market with millions of workers, many willing to work for less, off the books, non union, no leverage, somebody gets undercut. That's not a political opinion, that's basic math. The whole country feels it because the costs don't stay local. People act like this is only a border state issue. It's not. It hits the whole country because it pressures everything that's already stretched: housing, schools, hospitals, and clinics, local budgets, courts, and law enforcement. And yes, wages. And here's the part the open borders crowd never wants to talk about: incentives. If the message is get in, claim hardship, overwhelm the system, and eventually you'll be allowed to stay, you don't get a manageable flow. You get a pipeline, and then taxpayers, working people, get handed the bill. Now, let's talk about why Black Americans get hit harder. And no, this isn't anti immigrant. This is pro reality and pro citizen. First, job competition is concentrated in the same sectors. Undocumented workers are heavily concentrated in low skill, low wage work. That's the same part of the labor market where a lot of working class Black Americans are fighting to stay afloat, especially Black men without college degrees. So when employers can hire cheaper labor, sometimes under the table, who loses bargaining power first? The people who already have the least margin for error. Second, the Spanish required problem. In immigrant heavy areas, Spanish preferred turns into Spanish required for jobs that used to be accessible to English only workers. That's not diversity, squad. That's a gatekeeping filter. And it locks out a lot of Black workers who shouldn't have to become bilingual just to compete for entry level work in their own communities. Third, public resources are finite and somebody gets pushed back. Budgets aren't infinite. Housing vouchers aren't infinite. Classroom seats aren't infinite. So when cities and states redirect attention toward newcomer populations at scale, language services, emergency housing, school staffing, healthcare loads, tell me who gets pushed to the back of the line, because it's not the people in gated neighborhoods with remote jobs. It's the citizens already struggling, often Black Americans, who are told to be compassionate while they get deprioritized. Fourth, civil rights era gains get diluted. This is the moral gut punch. African Americans fought for civil rights protections and anti poverty programs to address a specific historic injustice: slavery, Jim Crow, discrimination that was baked into the system. But over time, those programs get broadened, categories get blurred, and suddenly the framework built to address Black American injustice becomes a general everybody who needs help system. And Black Americans are sitting there like, so when do we finish the job for the people it was created for? Here's the bottom line: illegal immigration doesn't just affect immigrants, it reshapes the economy, the budget, the classroom, and the job market. And if you want to know who pays the highest price, don't look at the people with degrees, remote work, and security. Look at the Americans competing for the most fragile opportunities: working class Black citizens who are expected to absorb the impact and stay quiet about it. If your compassion policy requires Black Americans to be last in line in their own country, it's not compassion, it's displacement with a smile.